We have like a patient follow-up visit kind of email system that we set up, like, 4 to 6 weeks after they've been in for their last visit, we send a check-in email, right? And so I think those are, again, that's another form of drip information of like, hey, just checking in to see how your back's doing, and so following up, I feel like we're the only profession who ever has true discharges. But when you're in the self-pay world and, not tied to a, plan of care episode, that we can become the physical therapist for our patients lifelong, not just in short episodes of care.
Hi, I'm James Spencer. This is Matt Haberl. We are on the podcast for the Academy of Orthopedic Physical Therapy titled Orthostatic. Today we're talking about marketing in physical therapy. And to start with something right off the top, don't forget to subscribe to our channel on YouTube and all our social medias and all of that. It really helps the Academy and helps this information grow and be spread to different corners of our profession. So with that little marketing and selling point, we'll jump right into our discussion today. As a review to some of you who may have heard our last couple episodes, Matt and I are private practice owners, and we're just talking about that experience a little bit. I own HX Physical Therapy in Aspen, Colorado. We do in-home physical therapy. I've been doing it for about 3 years.
And I'm Matt Haberl. I'm Matt Haberl. I'm with Dynamic Performance and Therapy. Like I said, we're out of La Crosse, Wisconsin, and a private practice outpatient. We've been in practice for about 9 years and been slowly growing over that time. So.
All right. And I'd encourage, if you haven't already, listen to the first couple episodes. Matt and I are just talking about business, and I feel like these conversations could go on for hours and hours. We're trying to chop it up into little bite-sized pieces for you, so it's palatable. And we want to talk about, how you get your patients, how you build your brand, what you do for marketing. And while this is a question we could wait on and kind of bury here, I think it's the big question: marketing to doctors. How much of it should we be doing? How much can we just lean on word of mouth of patients in the community instead? And I know what my thoughts are on it, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts, Matt.
Yeah, and as we were kind of trying to decide how we were going to dialogue this, it kind of came to mind of like, what really happens to probably 90% of PTs right now, right? They work in if they work in an outpatient clinic, especially like a hospital-based one, a lot of times your schedule kind of is routinely getting filled by physician referrals, right? And a lot of those physician referrals are then also dictated by the in-network insurance that those patients are going through. So I'd say from the historical concept of, marketing, physical therapy, really has been just a service that's been provided and really been marketed via physician referrals, which was then really controlled by third-party insurances determining what locations these patients who needed physical therapy would go. And so I would say that's probably what we're all familiar with. And so I think that's always the question is like, should we be, going to the physicians and getting our, name out? Well, I think I still think that's very positive and rewarding. I think at the end of the day, if you kind of really think about it, both your third party insurance, as well as in a sense, in most states we have direct access. Your third party physician, who really is a third party in determining where that patient goes, they're all third parties. I would say our practice has been built more around a one-to-one, so two party system, right? One-to-one. We're providing physical therapy. The patient, they're trying to access physical therapy, and so then we look at out of that first party, the patient, how can they access our system? And since we're predominantly self-pay, there is no restriction in terms of like a payer system outside of what they're financially able to do or not do or have time for, right? So value comes in different waves and forms. And so then it's more about, how do we access that kind of patient? And, there's multiple different ways from social media. I think if you don't have a social media presence, it is kind of like you don't exist. So there is an element of that. And then there's drip marketing, marketing. So what that's kind of called is like if you've seen a former patient, you have their contact information and like you drip information to them via newsletters or things along those lines, or you have them sign up on your website and they agree to get your newsletter, and then that's one thing we do is we provide monthly newsletters to our patients, and then highlight different topics between nutrition, health, exercise, and then and even different types of injuries. And so there's different ways you can kind of go to that first party. So that was kind of a lot, I know, in that first just opening statement here, but I don't know if you want to dial into any
Let me,
specific
yeah,
ways.
let me break it down a little bit here because I think you've talked about two things. I think you've talked, or there's really two paths. You can market to the physicians who could be a referral source. I think there's other referral sources we could talk about too, but you could market to the physicians or you could market directly to the patient. And you've talked about two ways to market to the patients: social media and drip marketing. Talk a little bit more about. Let's talk about each of these things, what each of our practices does in these areas and what works for us and what doesn't. What do you do for drip marketing in your practice?
I'd say the biggest thing, like for drip marketing, on again, because there's a couple different ways to get to do drip marketing. From let's just start from the patient that doesn't know about you, right? So on your website, if you have information regarding back pain, and so like a patient who's in pain searches, what do I do when I'm in back pain, and you provide a little bit of information about how to self-treat back pain, and then what it does is because they signed up to access that information, it collects their email or phone number, and then and they agreed to it, they agreed to provide that information, and then the system on the back end, within a week or within 2 weeks, it then sends another message, how's your back coming along, and so like in those cases, we know that a large percentage of back pain will resolve on its own within the first 2 weeks, and those are the patients that probably don't need to come to the clinic in anyway, right? Like some will benefit still, some, but then those patients who didn't recover, it kind of gives them a second like check-in, right? It's sometimes what it takes is like, how many nudges does it take before you take a step? And so then that's where the drip marketing is, from like if you looked at it from like a new patient side of things. Other ways that you can get there is we do a lot of community involvement. So we kind of create partnerships with some of the different health facilities and gyms and coaches in our area, as well as we've been trying to build more connections with even some of the employers in the area, to do work screens and some of those things. But again, same idea, getting their information when doing an educational seminar, and then getting them signed up for our newsletter. And then within our newsletter, that gets sent out monthly. I think it's, again, drip marketing also creates brand awareness. What are the things that we offer that, that they may be looking for. And then, it's like, oh yeah, I remember Dynamic, treats back pain. Most people in our area are drawn to chiropractors, and so sometimes we can use those little pieces of highlighting that these are therapy services we provide.
Yeah.
um,
Let me stop you because I was when you started talking about drip marketing, my first question was, what is it?
yeah.
but then my second thought was like, oh, is this something I should be doing in my business?
Yeah.
And as you describe it more, I realized, oh yeah, I'm doing some form of this. It's probably not as formal as a more well defined program from a company that's been around longer or put more intentional thought into it than I have. But I'm getting to a question for you here. But for me, ski injury prevention is really where we're landing in our business. We're here in a ski town. Our business is seasonal, but in the winter, it is a lot of ski injuries. And it's a lot of ski injuries from people who are just visiting town, and maybe they fall and they break their leg and they need a week or two of physical therapy to get back on the plane and get back to home to where they're going to do the rest of their rehab. But we've kind of embraced the ski injury prevention method, and we've put stuff on our website, and we've written stuff, and we've done presentations in the community with the ski company here, which is by far the biggest employer in town. And so we're kind of just finding this way and to into the ski business by following our passion. I just love skiing and I love talking about skiing with people. And it turns out I have a wealth of knowledge about ski injury prevention and just sharing that in the community. And it is leading to referrals and other opportunities and people coming to the practice. But I've got this pretty robust part of my company's website about ski injury prevention. And I'm just hoping people stumble across it and there's awareness of our work in that realm. But it sounds like you have a way of capturing some information from those individuals and possibly turning them into clients or patients down the road.
Yeah, and I would say it's more our website has a way to do that. Like a lot of the different websites will, and this is where you'll see. I mean, I'm sure if you've ever clicked on an ad either on Facebook or something, they're going to say, "Here, click here to get our free ebook." And as soon as you do that, it's going to ask you for your contact information, right? And then there's always that little disclaimer in there that you're allowing us to contact you, and if you want to opt out, you can unsubscribe, right? So I'd say it's built in. That'd be the one thing looking at, either your website, the designer, or if you're doing it yourself. Like most have it built in. Now and then just using it, and then that's where the things like email. I'm not. I have no. Just a full disclosure, I have no financial interest in any of these, but common names like emailchimp and all those other things. That's where those models of programming were built for that, right? So that's that whole marketing aspect that's built into web pages. There's whole courses on how you can do it on Facebook and ads, and that stuff gets beyond my knowledge. But that's why people do it for a living, right? So
Yeah, I think it's great, and again, to reflect on my own experience, it's we have our exercise programs there on the web, for ski injury prevention with, and just hoping like someone downloads it and prints it out, and then you've got something with the name Ajax Physical Therapy sitting in your house.
yeah,
But you're making me think that there's more steps to take to turn it into a true marketing process.
yeah.
Um,
And I'm just want to follow up one other thing because this is what probably not. I mean, I know a lot of the newer EMRs are starting to do it, but a lot of EMRs are actually starting to have that built in. So we have like a patient follow-up visit kind of email system that we set up, like 4 to 6 weeks after they've been in for their last visit, we send a check-in email, right? And so I think those are, again, that's another form of drip information of like, hey, just checking in to see how your back's doing. Because I mean, it's not uncommon, right? Change takes time and change is tough. That 6 weeks go by and I was doing my exercises for 2 weeks and I felt great. And then, time goes on. I sat, for 3 days straight and my back started to get stiff again. I should probably get back in and get another tune up or treatment, or these exercises are easy. I need something harder, and so following up, I feel like we're the only profession who ever has true discharges. But when you're in the self-pay world and not tied to a plan of care episode, that we can become the physical therapist for our patients lifelong, not just in short episodes of care. So that'd be one final kind of teaser of like, do it with the patients you've seen too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not knowing what drip marketing was before and now knowing, I'll share two other things that we're doing
Yeah.
that are drip marketing. Um, we collect everybody's address all year and we send people holiday cards around this time of year.
Yes.
And it's just one way to make a contact, get our business name and our faces back in their home, maybe hanging on the fridge or hanging on the wall, and also reaching out to people and spreading a little goodwill. Hopefully, is part of it too.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that we've stumbled across early in our experience as business owners is identifying our fans, the people who are sending their friends, the people who are pumping people into our practice, and making sure we really take the time to reach out to these people, maintain a relationship with them, say thank you for trusting us with your friends and family. That's the greatest compliment we can have, and really working to keep these people in our good graces, and to keep ourselves front of their mind. So that's one thing we've stumbled across early in our practice.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, I would say word of mouth referral is probably our still our number one referral system. The old analogy. One bad kind of referral, trickles into 10 versus, they'll tend to tell 10 people rather than one good referral, or one good recommendation. You got to work harder if you ever have one bad recommendation, right? So it just kind of, the more you can personalize, again, that patient centered quality care, word of mouth goes light years, in my opinion, beyond everything we do from anything from billboards to radios to Facebook and all that sort of stuff. Like word of mouth is your true determining factor of how successful you really are. So
Yeah.
if you only got time, that's where I'd spend it.
Yeah, I agree. It's a thing that I have found most successful for us is just providing great care, and again, it's a slow growth, long term strategy. It's not something that gives reward right away, but I think it's proven fruitful for us so far.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cut off this conversation right there. Try to keep these episodes a bit bite sized for you guys. We're gonna jump back in with another episode or two on branding and marketing because I think Matt and I could continue to talk on this, and I have a couple big topics in my head that I want to keep going. But I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon.